Avon Resources Limited is a gold exploration company with significant projects in British Columbia, Saskatchewan, and the Yukon. Trading on the TSX Venture Exchange, symbol ABN, and the pink symbol ABN-AF. Surrounded by world-class gold deposits and mines, Avon's 23,000 hectares Forest Kerr Gold Project is located in the heart of the Golden Triangle in northwestern BC. For more information, visit us at avonresources.com.
You're listening to HowStreet.com radio, available online at TalkDigitalNetwork.com. Welcome to HowStreet.com radio, the online source for market opinions. Here is Jim Goddard.
My guest is Chris Vermeulen. His website is thegoldanoilguy.com. Welcome back to the show, Chris.
Thanks for having me, Jim.
Saudi Arabia, according to the Wall Street Journal, is again asking OPEC members to freeze their production levels at current rates to keep prices up. Is this going to fly?
Yeah, I'm not sure if that's going to fly or not. Really the whole sentiment for crude oil is really bearish, and they're talking about, increasing production, all these things, and, the majority of people are very bearish on crude oil in general. It's had a strong rally. It's come right up to that $53, $54 per barrel mark that you and I gave it a target a few weeks ago, and it's at major resistance. And, the news really for crude oil is bearish, but when you step back and look at the big picture, which is like the weekly and even more so the month, crude oil looks very bullish long term. And, usually the market goes against the grain, what the general consensus are and the news. And of course, everything is bearish. And I think we're going to see crude oil, I think it's going to take some time here. I think we're going to see it consolidate for several weeks. Could be chop around between the 54 area or 52 for a while, build a platform here before eventually I think it's going to break to the upside and hit $60, $61 per barrel, which is a high that we saw way back in 2015 of May. So I think there's great upside potential. I just think crude oil has had a nice move, and it's at resistance. It's going to take some time here. News-wise, I don't really see the news really helping crude oil in any, I don't use the news, so I don't really play too much into that. Usually the news is the opposite. It's always darkest before dawn, and it's pretty crappy news really for crude oil. And it's got most people bearish, and I think that's a contrarian sign.
Well, U.S. Fracking producers can virtually just turn the tap on and off at will, can't they?
Yeah, I think it can happen fairly quickly. It's not quite the same as the big rigs. They take a long time to wind up and wind down. I think the fracking is definitely something that happens much quicker. So there is that. Obviously, if crude oil breaks above this 54, 55 and starts to run towards 60, by the time it reaches $60 a barrel, I think we could see a lot of taps being opened up, and it could definitely create a downdraft in crude oil very quickly. But I don't think we're going to really see that yet. I think, again, a lot of people in general are bearish on crude oil, meaning a lot of firms and companies aren't really going to be opening the taps because they feel as though it's going to linger down here or fall again. So when the time comes, I think the taps could open fairly quick, but we need to see a breakout above $54, $55 per barrel and for it to start running towards that $60 mark.
Gas Buddy predicts that Ontario and Quebec will be paying their highest gasoline prices in 3 years. Is there a big connect between the price of crude and the price of gasoline? Because here in Vancouver, we don't see it. They
do follow suit a little bit for sure, but there's not a direct connection. Obviously, when crude oil goes up, usually gasoline prices go up as well, but they do move a little bit different than each other in the grand scheme of things. But typically, as crude oil moves up and holds its value up, then gas will catch up to it. Sometimes it kind of underperforms or falls. And but right now, I think we're going to see crude oil hold up here, and I think we could see gas prices continue to climb here going into spring, summer.
Should the Canadian dollar be going up in price then too, because it seems to be pretty closely tied to the price of crude?
Yeah, the Canadian dollar will most likely do fairly well. I think it's kind of building a little bit of a bottoming formation here, and it could easily move up and have a significant rally. And the U.S. dollar on the flip side is trading at resistance. It kind of topped out this the last couple sessions here. It's poked into resistance. It's starting to move down a bit, and I think we could see the U.S. dollar fall and Canadian dollar start to rally here.
We'll have more with Chris Vermeulen right after the break.
I'm Larry Ray, President and CEO of American Manganese, Inc., listed on the TSX Venture, ticker symbol AMY, A-M-Y, with proprietary patents in the U.S., China, and South Africa. Our focus is on recycling lithium-ion batteries for electric vehicles. China recently legislated the responsibility for recycling onto their electric vehicle manufacturers and importers. For more information, please visit AmericanManganeseInc.com or phone me, Larry Ray, at 778-574-4444.
I'm Bill McWilliam, President of Cascadero Copper, CCD on the TSX Venture Exchange. Cesium is one of the world's rarest metals with a growing industrial demand. Drilling is underway on our Tehran property in Argentina to prove up a cesium resource. Cascadero's patent-pending leach process has the potential to make Cascadero the lowest cost supplier of cesium in the world. Visit our website, cascadero.com, or phone us at 604-924-5504.
Welcome back. We're speaking with Chris Vermeulen. Chris, President Trump has just tweeted, North Korea is looking for trouble. We've just seen what he did in Syria with his missile launch. Now he's talking about North Korea. Is this going to really affect the price of gold?
It definitely could. Obviously, war is usually a bullish thing for gold prices, and of course, we saw the big move there last week with gold on news related to that. So, obviously if something there really does spark up and take action, we're probably going to see precious metals take off in a big way. So, it's kind of one of those wild cards. There's always some type of news event you've got to be aware of or cautious of that could move gold, and I think that's one of the critical type of events that will definitely move gold or have an impact on it.
If there is a run on gold, could you see the prices really jumping quickly?
I think so, and we saw prices jump a couple of days ago. They've jumped right back up to those recent highs again today. Obviously, we could have a pretty good pop. We were trading at 1250 a couple of days ago, and I think we could see it get right up to the 1300, 1305, 1306 area within really a couple of days here. It looks as though gold. There's fear in the market, and we're kind of seeing everybody move into these safe havens, and gold is popping, and the next area of resistance is going to be the whole number of 1300. It's a mental number. It's a level that people will say, well, if it ever gets back up to 1300, which is a nice even round number, I'm going to sell my long position or I'm going to short it, and so it naturally creates a resistance level. And of course, we also have a previous high in the market, a pivot high in gold from last November, right at that 1306, 1305 area. So there's two reasons for it to hit that level and sell back down. And I think we could very easily see gold continue to pop over the next couple of days, tag that level, and I think we could have a quick sharp pullback once that level is reached. It seems like an emotional move in the market today, which we can see, using some of the indicators that tell us about fear, like the VIX.
And how is that fear index doing?
Yeah, well, the fear index, also known as the VIX, has spiked up dramatically. Yesterday it was up 10%. Today it's up 10%. Really only, 5 trading days ago, it was trading at 10.90. It's all the way up to almost $16 today, so a huge percentage move to the upside. We haven't seen this level really since pretty much December of last year, and this is a level where people are actually very, very fearful of the market. They think stocks are going to sell off. They're worried potentially about war or missiles and all that stuff, so there's a lot of fear in the market. And when this index is showing us there's fear, typically we see money rotate into the safe places, which people are dumping stocks and they're moving over to bonds. They're moving to utilities, gold, silver, miners, all of those which are up today, and the rest of the market more or less is selling off because the people are just afraid of holding other investments or asset classes.
We'll have more with Chris Vermeulen right after the break.
Gem International is a new diamond explorer in the richest diamond producing country in Africa, located next to the fourth largest producing diamond mine in the world. International Spotlight is on an 1109 carat diamond recently discovered in Africa by a fellow Canadian junior with a proven operator and finance team. Gem International trades on the TSX Venture Exchange, symbol GI. Visit us at gemdiamondmining.com.
Keep informed. Receive our weekly recap of thought-provoking articles, podcasts, and radio delivered to your inbox for free. Sign up for the HowStreet.com weekly recap on our homepage, HowStreet.com. Welcome back. We're chatting with Chris Vermeulen. Chris, if people are feeling fearful or untrustful of the market right now, are there solid moves that they can make right now that could protect them from any rapid downturn in the equity markets?
That's a tough question because I think we're entering we're in a high volatility market right here where we could see some pretty significant price swings, not only in equities, but in commodities as well. And there's already a lot of fear in the market. There's enough fear in the market that stocks could put in a bottom any day. They could have put it in this morning already, or we could see 2 or 3 more days of accelerated fear and accelerated price selling and see a huge drop in the S&P 500 over the next couple of days. So I think within like a 5-day window, I think the stock market is trying to put in a bottom. This fear may continue to spike up for a couple of days, but it will dissipate, I think, very shortly. Usually fear is very short-lived. It only lasts a week or so. So it's a tough play. If you're a really short-term trader, I think you might want to be looking to potentially play the downside for a big, sharp kind of panic selling in the stock market, potentially catch the next pop and run higher in gold. If it could go, another $25, $30 per ounce. But once those extremes kind of top out or kind of hit that pivot zone in the next few days, I think we're going to see stocks put in a strong bottom here and have a significant rally, and we're going to see the safe havens pull back. Gold, silver, miners, and bonds, they're all trading at significant resistance levels. Utilities are showing a topping sign, and they usually top out and fall with precious metals, or when the equities market in general is about to rally, we usually see utilities underperform. So there's a lot of things here. I think we're at that tipping point, and we've got a little window here where things are going to be wild volatility-wise, big price swings intraday, back and forth. But, I think we're going to see if equities here find a bottom soon. We're going to find a top in the safe havens.
Looking at the patterns over the last few years, it used to be sell in May, go away. But when we had Black Friday in August a few years ago instead of in the more traditional times of, say, October, November for stocks to take a big dump, is this year going to be, again, just a little ahead of what usually happens? Instead of selling in May, are we going to take it off the table in April?
I would think so. I feel as though there's enough time in April that we could see this selling that could be taking place starting as of today. I think this could be more or less the sell in May type thing, and actually the market stabilizes by the time May comes around and we see the market push to new highs. So I think I don't think it's going to be the sell in May. It feels as though it's going to probably firm up. By the time May comes around, things will actually be fairly stable, if not already moving higher on the equity side of things.
Is one of the reasons why things seem to happen a little faster than traditional markets is that robots do so much of the trading automatically?
Robots play a big role in kind of what's going on, but when it comes to seasonality, I don't think they have too much of a role there. Like, a big sell-off can really happen any time, and when the high volatility and volume is flowing in the markets, that's when robots really kick on, and they create they can exaggerate moves. They can create some very wild and fast price swings. But overall, I don't really think they drive the trends so much. I feel as though they they really kick into high gear when there's a lot of volume flying and volatility. So I think we're seeing that probably today. We've got, big volume, high volatility. Robots love that because they love fast movements and they need a lot of volume so they can trade a lot of volume to make money, because they're trading typically they're trading fractions of a penny or very small amounts that they're trying to do multiple trades repeatedly. So in the grand scheme of things, I don't think they have too much of a role in the whole sell in May type of thing, or it happening before that time frame comes.
How about overseas markets? Are they just as dependent on sentiment and what people feel?
Yeah, well, it doesn't matter what it is, whether it's an overseas market, U.S. equities, commodities, everything is based around sentiment, what people are comfortable with, what they feel it's valued at. And so, yeah, they play in the exact same type of scenarios and setups and patterns, everything that we see in the U.S. markets. If you look at the emerging markets ETF, like the EEM and zoom way back so you can see the 2014, it actually looks like a very strong bullish chart. The markets have pulled back in a nice controlled way. The emerging markets look really strong here. They've pulled back a little more than the U.S. equities, and they look like they're ready to rally. And typically we see all the markets rally together. So when you see global markets kind of setting up, looking to move higher, and they've all had like a correction like what we're seeing in the U.S. markets, typically we're going to see them all move together. So I am bullish on equities. The next few days here, I think volatility could be pretty wild, and we might see maybe potentially a couple % drop lower in the SP 500 going forward this week before it bottoms out.
Have many people been lulled into complacency when right now is probably the most dangerous time?
Depends how you look at it. Obviously, there's a lot of fear in the market. To me, that's when you should be looking more to be adding to positions or getting into positions, not so much, there's a lot of complacency in the market in general. People just have been for years, just continue to buy, and as long as you hold it long enough, you make money. Eventually, there will be a time when the markets crack and break down in a significant way, and we have a bear market, and, they'll be waiting for that bounce and that rally that never really happens. At this point, though, the overall trend is, I think, we're still going to see higher prices. So I think those holding are on the right side, and they can be complacent. They can ignore this kind of pullback because this is just a bullish correction so far in the equities market. It's not a reason to eject. But again, those who are complacent eventually will give back most of their gains when the time comes.
Chris, thank you so much for chatting with us.
Always a pleasure, Jim. Thanks for having me on the show.
My guest has been Chris Vermeulen. His website, thegoldandoilguy.com. You're listening to HowStreet.com radio. Find us on Twitter at TalkDigitalNet. Our YouTube channel is Talk Digital Network. Questions for the show or for our guests can be sent to info@HowStreet.com. I'm Jim Goddard. Thanks for listening.
Comments made on HowStreet.com radio are an expression of opinion only and should not be construed in any matter whatsoever as recommendations to buy or sell any financial instrument at any time. Available online at TalkDigitalNetwork.com. HowStreet.com radio is a production of HowStreet Media Incorporated.